In today's video, I want to give you guys some of the best mobile apps for both Android and iOS, which you can use on the go. These modeling apps range from very simple to something that you can use to generate ideas and concepts on the fly, and others that can seriously change your life. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. For years, Blender artists have imagined having a full software on a mobile device. I mean, something they could use anywhere, anytime. Interestingly enough, recently this idea started to feel a lot more real, thanks to an independent developer known as iPad. Around mid-2024, iPad began experimenting with something that wasn't supposed to work, getting Blender to run on Android. At first, it was just early tests, and rough builds were shared quietly on developer forums. Nothing polished, just proof that the software could actually launch on a mobile hardware. And by mid-2025, things took a big step forward. Early downloadable versions started appearing online, and people were finally able to run Blender on a real Android tablet. It wasn't an official release, and there was no proper installer, just experimental builds shared within the community via GitHub. Even now, the project is still in a very early stage. While basic tasks like simple modeling are possible, many features are unstable or missing, and rendering issues, limited touch support, and hardware limitations are still major challenges. But despite all that, the impact is huge. This project shows that Blender can in fact run on mobile devices. It is not ready for professional use yet, but it proves the idea is no longer impossible, and that the future of mobile 3D creation might be closer than people think. What's official though is that the Blender's development team has been teasing a standalone version of Blender itself designed for tablets, including compatibility with iPad devices. We first caught a glimpse of this project, during SIGGRAPH 2025, where an early build demonstrated surprisingly smooth performance. During the presentation, it was shown that the M2 chip in the iPad Pro was capable of running both Eevee and Cycles previews quite seamlessly, which caught the attention of many artists in the 3D community. Although there is still no official release date, the team explained that a tablet-compatible version of Blender could offer a lot more flexibility for users. So as a Blender artist, you can take your workflow anywhere, whether you are traveling, sketching ideas on the go, or even demonstrating concepts during meetings or Zoom calls. It could also be useful for lighter tasks that don't require heavy computational power, such as scene setup, modeling tweaks, or reviewing projects. However, in a recent update, the development team revealed that the project has temporarily been shelved so they can focus more on Android tablets instead. While they didn't go into detail about the reasoning behind this shift from iOS to Android, it is likely related to the greater flexibility and openness of the Android operating system for development. This is somewhat surprising, especially considering that Apple's M-series chips are extremely powerful and have already proven capable of handling demanding 3D workloads. Still, the Android ecosystem may allow developers to experiment more freely, especially with features, system access, and hardware variations. And for now, the idea of a fully portable version of Blender remains exciting, and many artists are still hoping that both iPad and Android tablet versions will eventually become an important part of Blender's future. And other than Blender, there are actually some interesting and cool 3D modeling apps that you can check out. For example, 3D modeling Design My Model. This app honestly feels like someone took the core idea of 3D modeling and stripped it down to the simplest form. You open it, and instead of dealing with complicated panels or settings, you are immediately inside a 3D space, moving objects around with your fingers. Everything is built around rotating, scaling, and moving, so it feels like interacting with the model directly, rather than controlling the software. Underneath that simple interface, you are actually working with real geometry. You can select vertices, edges, and faces, merge them, connect them, and even create new faces manually. So in a way, it is teaching you the same fundamentals that you would use in something like Blender, just without overwhelming you. At the same time, the whole experience is very on the go, so you don't need stylus and you don't need to set up anything. You don't even need an account to start modeling. That's why a lot of people end up using it as their first step into 3D. Again, because it is as simple as it gets. The app also mixes simple wireframe and spline style modeling, so you can block out shapes really quickly just using your fingers. So it is not about precision or perfect topology, it is about getting an idea into 3D as fast as possible. That's why it works surprisingly well for things like simple objects, low poly designs, or even rough architectural concepts. Next we have Shapeyard. It is not locked into just one style of modeling. You can do both hard surface stuff and more organic shapes, and the app lets you actually manipulate vertices, edges, and surfaces in a simplified way. And yeah, it also supports texturing and materials. Another big part of the app's identity is that it is very connected to real-world use cases. I mean, it is heavily geared toward things like 3D environment props or 3D printing, but in a simplified way. You can export models as OBJ or STL and drop them into engines like Unity or Unreal, or different 3D software. But yeah, this is where the reality check comes in. Once you spend more time with it, you just start noticing some limitations. It doesn't have, as you may expect, the depth of something like Blender or even more advanced mobile apps. Some users even mention things like crashes, missing features, or just feeling limited when trying to do more complex work. And since it is subscription-based, it can turn people off if they are expecting a full free experience. Next we have Sketchup. Using Sketchup on mobile feels very different from those smaller 3D apps, because this is not just a lightweight experiment. This is basically a mobile version of the tool that has been used by architects, designers, and studios for years. So when you open it, you instantly feel like you are stepping into something more serious, but at the same time, it is surprisingly simple to use. With the app, you are sketching shapes almost like you would on a paper, and then turn them into 3D using tools like push and pull. And on the iPad especially, with Touch and Apple Pencil, it literally feels like a digital sketchbook. Another thing that makes it stand out is how connected everything is. Because you're not just working in isolation on your phone, you can sync your models with the web or the desktop version, which means you can pull assets from a massive online library and even collaborate with other people. And then there is the whole real-world angle. SketchUp is heavily focused on architecture, interiors, and real spaces, as you know, so you can import real-world data, use actual dimensions, and even drop your model into AR to see it in the environment. So instead of just making random 3D objects, people often use it to build something that could exist in real life, like a room, a house, or maybe a furniture layout. That's why it is super popular for architects and designers. But yeah, here is the honest part. Even though it is powerful, it is still not yet a full desktop experience. And for that reason, some advanced features like plugins and deeper workflows are either limited or completely missing on mobile. Also, it is subscription-based if you want full modeling features, which can be a downside for some people. Next, we're gonna talk about Prisma 3D, which is not just a modeling app, because it is trying to be a full 3D studio. This is the case because you can build models, animate them, add lights, cameras, and basically create entire scenes from start to finish, all inside the app. So as you can see, it is very creator focused, and it is clearly built for people who want to make content. I mean like animations, short films, or TikTok style edits. So it is not just limited to modeling objects. You are actually building worlds and emotions with keyframes and rendering videos directly from your phone. So it feels less like a modeling software and more like a mini version of Blender, but simplified. You can rig characters, animate them with a timeline, control cameras, and even import and export formats like OBJ or FBX, which is actually kinda crazy on a mobile app. At the same time, the app kinda guides you into 3D creation step by step. So if you've never touched 3D before, you can still build something and animate it pretty quickly. That's why a lot of people use it as their introduction to animation, especially on mobile. Last but not least, we're gonna talk about uMake, which is another app that sits between drawing and 3D modeling. And honestly, that's exactly its identity. So when you open it, you don't go straight to building geometry the way you would in a 3D modeling software. It feels like you're sketching, literally drawing lines and curves in space, and then those lines turn into 3D shapes. That's because the whole workflow is built around sketching first and modeling second. You can use tools for straight lines, curves, or even freehand drawing, and then extrude or shape those into objects. So instead of thinking vertices, edges, faces, and so on, you're thinking, well, let me draw this idea quickly and see it in 3D. That's why architects, product designers, and interior designers love it, because it is all about getting ideas fast. What's interesting is that under that simple interface, it is actually pretty powerful. I mean, it uses proper CAD style modeling, including NURBS, so you can get clean and smooth surfaces, in addition to precise shapes if you want to. You can also work with exact dimensions, build real product concepts, and even export to formats like STEP or STL, which means your model can actually go into real production pipelines. Another thing that really defines uMake is how it blends everything together. So you're not just modeling, you can sketch over images, combine references, and build entire concept boards inside the app. It kind of feels like a mix of sketchbook, a mood board, and a 3D tool all in one place. That's why it is popular for ideation and the early stage of design work. And there you have it, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to this channel to receive more videos like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.